Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone, and happy Sunday. It is May the 7th. My name is Nikki Adamkowitz. I'm known as the Sassy Subber around here, and today we're going to be talking about the beach towels from Marvin. He's from Driven by Graphics, and the Suncatcher from RREM Distributors. So I talked about them a couple days ago in the Sassy Nation Mall box, and now we're going to come back. We're going to revisit. We're going to try something new with the acrylic. It's just something I've been thinking about. We're going to talk about it once I get over to the shop area. So if you haven't heard, I'm doing a Sassy Nation Mall box, and in there is a sampling of all the stuff from the vendors. One of them is the beach towel from Driven by Graphics. It's 30 by 60. It's thicker than his hand towels or his fingertip towels. It's definitely a nice plush beach towel. I'm going to press this in 10 pressings. That's right. You know what? Let's go big or go home. I want to give the illusion of a faux bleed, and I'm going to do it without the board method because a lot of you don't want to have to use the board. So we're not only going to be not using the board method, we're going to be doing it in 10 pressings, and each individual area is roughly about 12 by 15. That's craziness. I know. Then we're going to repress the acrylic sun catchers that I had done quickly the other day. We're going to talk about maybe a possible new technique for it. I'm not sure it's going to work, but you know what? This is the time for us to sit and do all the things. So now, while I go over, switch my cameras over, head over to the shop, please make sure you say good morning, good morning, good morning to the ladies behind the helm. We have Miss Cheyenne and Miss Jessica behind the helm this morning. So let's get over to the shop. As I switch over my camera, I'm going to grab all my pieces because there's a lot to press this morning. And honestly, let's make sure it all switched over. There we go. Perfect. Good morning. So this is our shop space. We're only going to be doing a one camera angle today, and that's because I have to do the towels. Okay. And the towel is kind of big. So we're going to work on that. I'm going to work on that after the fact. I really wanted to start out here with the acrylic stuff, just because with acrylic, there's some little nuances you have to know when it comes to acrylic. Now, you guys saw that I had pressed this one earlier. I didn't have enough pressure on it. I do have a clamshell, but I have a thought. I'm wondering if I use some silicone mat and then I press it. We are going to up our time a little bit because you do have to go through the silicone mat. But I figured, you know what? We're here for it. We're here to see if it works. We are going to press it the traditional way, which is without anything really except for butcher paper. But I was honestly curious. Most times when you're doing acrylic, you have to go at about 400 degrees for about anywhere between 40 to 60 seconds, depending on, make sure you check your manufacturer's instructions, and then it's light pressure. The problem is a lot of us don't have pressure gauges on our heat presses. So light pressure is relative, right? We have no idea what exactly light pressure is. What I consider light might not be light for your particular press. So we have that going on. I literally printed off the same image because, well, why not? Then you get to see what it looks like on the clear, and then you get to see what it looks like on the white. Now I have one white piece to do this in because the Suncatchers, when you do get to go purchase these after the box sale, you'll be able to order these in white and in clear. All right. So when you get your kit, I showed the kit off the other day. You do get to have the, you know what, where's my 3D Puff Pro tool? Hold up. So if you didn't hear, there is a 3D Puff Pro tool, and this is the perfect time to be using this particular tool is when you're trying to take the film off of things. Everyone who's already purchased one of these tools will tell you it is a must-have in your wheelhouse because it helps peel that paper off without scratching your surface. And you know what? Clear is going to be the death of you. I got to be honest. If you scratch it, you're going to see it. It's going to annoy you. So that little flat edge, you'll be able to find, and I'll have the girls throw the link up. You can find, and if you want to buy your own tool, you will find it at the 3dpuffprotool.com. Tools is actually with an S at the end. Couldn't find it the other day, and I couldn't figure out why. All right, so couple things. I'm going to pull a couple of these samples out. I want to do, like I said, a couple of these so you guys can, we're going to try different methods. So I'm going to pull out another clear insert. I have some theories. All right. So Randy did go ahead and let you know that you have to peel the film off of these. Okay, because it is clear. And honestly, it protects your nails. I know for me, my nails end up getting really gross and chipped because trying to peel off this film, after a while, it just kind of is a pain. And if you have your nails professionally done, then you're ruining your nails that you just paid to have done. All right, there's one more for good measure, and we're also going to do the backside of my white one because, like I said, I only have one white one. All of the kits do come in clear that you're going to get with the box. But when you go to purchase them, you'll be able to purchase the clear or the white. Does the light go through the white one? Yes, it absolutely does. You just have to think of it as just milky white. I mean, it's still going to be, it's not going to be see-through, but you'll be able to see an image. So yes, the light does shine through this. It's not like you're going to be using MDF. Okay, so first things first, let's try out something that I've got a theory on. So we have our heat press. We have it set for $3.95 for 60 seconds. I've been letting this silicone mat here. Now, if you're going to ask me where I got my silicone mat, it is actually the cup sleeve. I almost called it what we normally call it. It is the cup sleeve that I literally cut apart because I don't need the cup sleeve anymore because I do have a tumbler press. So I cut it so I can make it flat. I've been warming this guy up because I figured why not? We're going to get some butcher paper. And then I also have water on standby because with acrylic, unfortunately, sometimes the paper sticks. That just means your pressure is a little bit too much. All right, so I'm going to get everything that I need in this conversation, just for giggles, for pressure. So my theory is if we have the silicone mat, do we get a better press and maybe some less sticking of the paper? Okay, so that's way too light. That's a little too heavy. We'll see if that one works. I'm not 100% sold on it, but I have a silicone mat on there. Okay. Because I will do what I can to make something a little bit easier for you. We're going to let this guy sit there and cool off. We're going to put this guy back over here. Now, you can use some Pro Spray if you want to attach your image, or you can just tape it. Just know this, when you tape on acrylic, you can sometimes leave the tape marks. So if you want to avoid really seeing your tape marks, I put them in the corners or lightly on an edge somewhere. This way, you're going to be less likely to see those tape marks if you do it that way. Now, here we go. So I've got it on the 60 seconds. I want to up it to probably, you know what? We're going to up it to, we'll leave it. We're going to leave it at 60 because I have this warmed up and this. We're going to see how it looks. If I feel like it needs another 10 to 20 seconds, we're going to figure that out right now. But I'm curious. This is what happens when curiosity kills the cat, right? Okay. So clamshell users, remember the pressure is more at the back than it is at the front. We're putting a silicone mat over this to see if I can't get some more even pressure. We're also doing it to see if it'll help with the paper not sticking. I'm not sure this is going to work. I'm not kidding you. I was talking to Cheyenne behind the scenes about it, and she's like, well, why not try it? That's what the Sass is for. Okay. So we've got it at the 60-second mark right now. And because I've warmed up the silicone, I'm thinking that it'll work. But again, I'm not 100% sure. What you want to have in your shop while you're doing acrylic is to have a bowl of water. All right. And I happen to use my Scrub Daddy. because it doesn't do any damage to my acrylic. It does get the paper off of there. You can just let it soak. Now, remember that when you use acrylic, it does warp because of the heat. So you want to have something flat on here and heavy. So what I did was I got a wood cutting board. Okay. The wood cutting board adds the pressure that I need to keep it flat for all of my things. All right. Let's see what we got going on. Let me see the comment section real quick. Yes, I have the substrate. Then I have the image on top. And now I will tell you this, with the clear, okay, with the clear acrylic, you do not mirror your image. So I have it as substrate, the transfer, and then the silicone and my butcher paper, obviously to protect investments around here. But you do not mirror your image on the clear. All right. Your wording will come up backwards if you do. Now, I know it's clear, but just use that as your practice. Think of it as a cutting. I know that you can flip it over. There's two sides to it. I get that. So if you do mess it up, you can just flip it over. But the rule of thumb with clear, don't. Okay. I'm not sure how this looks. Let me find my heat gloves because, well, fingers. Okay, it's starting to press. So it's starting to press. The paper's not sticking. I'm going to tighten it down just a little bit. So I'm tightening it down just a little bit, and I'm adding an additional 60 seconds. So I did a quarter of a crank. Then we're going to add an additional 60 seconds because I could see the image was pressing. Remember, we've got to go through that silicone mat. So you might have to press it a little bit longer, but if we can press it a little bit longer and we get a beautiful press, I'm here for it. And if you've put too much pressure on it, does that help? If you put, extra pressure, I guess, is the question at hand here. So do they have a sublimation acrylic? They absolutely do. They do have a sublimation acrylic. It does have a poly coating back into it, but it doesn't come in a lot of fun shapes. That's where you'll see a lot of people use the regular acrylic, the clear, and the colored or the white, because again, all of our laser friends can cut them in really fun shapes. The sublimation acrylic, unless you're buying it in sheets, it's uber expensive to buy. You're going to be paying a little bit more top dollar for it. So there is that. So let's see what we did here. Again, no clue. I may not be sold on this. Okay, so the paper did stick. It's super pliable. But the image is still just not giving me the vibes that I need. Okay, so I'm going to say right now, because now I'm into this is, what it is. I'm going to take out my silicone mat. See if I can't get that in there. Actually, you know what? We're also going to add in another. The reason I'm adding in another is because this one's already been pressed 3 times or 2 times already. So now I want to see what happens when I do just the normal pressing on this. Stick this guy in here. Okay. I didn't play with the pressure on this one. All right. I left it to where it is. It's more on the heavier side of a light pressure for me. Light pressure means I can just kind of push it down. We're going to see how this plays out. Remember, I have one that's been pressed now twice. Now, this is the 3rd time with a silicone mat. Wasn't 100% sold on it because, again, the image wasn't coming all the way through. So could you play with it? Add a little bit more more time to it? You probably could. But for me, I'm going to tell you just a thought, because a lot of people ask me, what if you do ... Well, you're going to probably have to really press it for a lot longer using that silicone mat. Now, could you do a flip version of it where you put the silicone mat, then the acrylic? You could. You absolutely could. But again, because then it's going to sink down in. Is that something we could try? Sure, we can try it. But I wanted to be able to say, this is what we're doing. All right. I will tell you, I can now see the image a little bit better. I can see it through the paper, so I know that it did something. All right, so this top one is the one that we pressed about, it feels like 1,000 times. Let's see if this did better. Oh, much better. Okay. It did stick a little bit, so I'm going to want to take this and put something on top of it. So that's what I'm probably going to need to do with this guy too, because they've pressed the same. They've got some stickiness on it, and that's what you do. Okay, so you put something heavy on it. We're going to do this white one. Okay, so I might want to ease up a little bit on my pressure. So now we're going to do the white one while these two sit under here. As you know, I've already pressed this one, the one side. Let's press the back side. We're going to lighten up on our pressure a little bit as well, because the pressure is rather tight for what I consider, I don't know, light pressure. Find a new spot on my paper. Let's loosen her up just a little. Let's see. We're going to leave it there. Okay, so that's a little bit lighter pressure than what I was using. We're letting the clear cool down a little bit because, again, it's super pliable and we really want it to firm up, and it will help for making the paper come off a lot easier. Sometimes when you do this and the paper does stick, well, that's because the acrylic gets super soft. Okay, now some people will swear by the text print R paper and that doesn't have it stick. Some people will swear by whatever paper they're using. Here's the thing. I'm not going to switch my paper 800 times depending on the substrate. I'm just not going to do it. For me, it's just not cost effective. I would rather just perfect the method that I have here using my own paper, because again, I'm not going to sit here and have 800 different types of paper depending on what it is. So now that this is somewhat cooled off, we're going to stick this in the paper and just let it be. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going to pull as much of this paper off. Now that it's firmed up a little bit, not too terrible. Okay, we're going to stick this in. Let it sit here and soak for a few minutes. The paper should come right off, should not leave a residue. All right, let's check out this white one. Take a peek under the hood. Needs a little bit more time. Actually, it probably needs a little bit more pressure is what this needs. Because again, you have to figure out what works best for you. And I'm okay if the paper sticks. Paper doesn't faze me at all. Some people, it drives them nuts when the paper sticks. For me, no, actually it doesn't. So I will roll this right off. If you let it sit long enough, you won't even have to worry about really fighting with it, because it'll just come right off. If you have an issue, take your Scrub Daddy. Love me a good Scrub Daddy. So when you do your acrylics, just throw them in a thing of water, and you're going to pull all of this paper right off. Don't be afraid to do the acrylic. A lot of people are like, well, if the paper sticks, yeah, it's going to stick. Okay, let's have a real conversation. If you're not using a sublimation coated type of acrylic, you're going to have chances it's going to stick. Okay, so there is that part of the whole craziness of this. I'll check that in 1 second. And as you can see, I'm literally using my Scrub Daddy to peel off that paper real quick. Okay. And now and my flag is backwards because I did mirror it. So there you go. If you don't want it to be, let me put it up against paper here. That's what it looks like. Okay. But the front side, nice and shiny. The back side, It does have a little bit of dulling to it, but for me, it doesn't bother me because, you know, yes, I know the flag is backwards. Okay, so I would have to flip it around so the flag would be correct. Make sure you don't mirror your image if you want it to be like that. But as you can see, it does press really beautifully. All right, we got this. Peeling off more of this paper because, again, paper happens. And if you're saying, Nikki, that's a lot of work. You know what? I've seen you guys work at other things. I've seen you guys do some absolutely ridiculous things in sublimation that you've put more time and effort in than I would kind of want to put more time and effort into. So honestly, let's just chalk it up to the fact that this is just one of those projects. Because I know I'm going to get that in the comment section. I don't want to be doing all that work. I want to press and go. You're right. So do I. But at the end of the day, it's really just what you want to do and how much time and effort you want to put into it. Perfect. And so if you want to sublimate on something that is atypical, not really made for sublimation, then you got to know you're going to be putting the time and the effort into it. Okay. So I want to peel off some of this paper. I'm going to put if you notice, I'm not putting it on the board just yet because I want to get as much of that paper off because I know that I'm going to have to put it in the water. So if it's warping, put your board. Okay. Can you take the paper? Can you leave the paper on it? Let it cool down flat? Absolutely, you can. I'm always in a rush in life. So I'm just going to literally let it cool down. So where it's not pliable, have this pressure of the board on it. So then it goes flat, throw it in some water, walk away from the project, come back to it when I need to. The paper will come off with ease, dry it off, and keep going. A lot of things in life, like slates, you have to let cool down for longer than a hot minute. So let's talk about that. The time and the temp and the pressure that you put into making a slate, right? It takes about 8 minutes. In that time, you could press multiple acrylic things. Even if you have too high of a pressure on it, you're at least going to get an amazing press because of the color. Then you're going to throw it into some hot water, into some cool water, or you're going to let it cool. You're still putting the same amount of effort into the acrylic as you did a slate, and there's a little bit more prep work. So I need you to look at it's all relative, right? And a lot of people will look at that as going, well, I guess you're right. Look at all the prep time and work that you put into a tumbler, putting it into a convection oven. Same idea. You're putting time and prep into something because it's something you want to do. All right. So don't be afraid of the acrylic at all. It's just one of those projects. So it has now cooled off to where it's flat. We're just going to dump it in the water.
Nikki, Facebook user would like to know if the scrubbing doesn't scratch the acrylic.
It doesn't. And I'll show it to you with the white because it'll be a little bit easier to see. Believe it or not, it doesn't. And I don't know why the Scrub Daddy or the Magic Eraser work as well as they do, but they just work. I've been using the Scrub Daddy and it doesn't even leave scratches, which is amazing because that was the one thing I wanted to see. If you're getting the Facebook user, like Cheyenne just said, please make sure you go like StreamYard. You have to go give StreamYard permissions. It's in the link in the video here. This way you're not just a fabulous user anymore. You actually have a name.
And
All right, so while
she would like to know, would a metal or marble piece work better for smushing your acrylic after pressing?
Who was that?
Lisa.
Oh, honestly, you can use marble, you can use metal, and you can use the wood. You just want something with some weight to it. Does it have to be super, super heavy? I don't believe so. I mean, I've been using this board and it's just fine. So, but if you have a marble cutting board, or if you have a piece of thick metal, you can absolutely use that. The point is you just want to have something with some depth and some heaviness to it so that it will work. And it keeps it from, and all the weight does really is to make sure that your acrylic stays flat and doesn't buckle.
Yeah. Okay. I use 2 pieces of whiteboard, smash, and then put a brick on top.
Yep. All right. While that's doing its thing over here, we're going to move this aside because we're about to do this towel. Now, let's talk about this towel. The methods I'm going to show doing this towel is I'm not putting butcher paper on the bottom. I never do when I'm covering my full plait in here because I just don't. I will be putting butcher paper on the top, but for today's tutorial, I'm reusing my butcher paper because I don't want to use 8,000 pieces of butcher paper. If I was doing this for my client, I would be using 8,000 pieces of butcher paper because it's important to me. But for the sake of this tutorial and just to try to move things along, I do have some butcher paper that has been pre-cut already, but the point of this is to show you that you don't necessarily need the board method to do this. I am doing this in 10 pressings. We're going to talk about it right now. All right, so for Marvin's towels, they come in 30 by 60. You guys are getting them as part of the box. All right, so I have these all in the direction that I need them in. All right, well, in the order I need them in. Okay. These images are 12 by 15. All right. What you want to do, because I already put mine in, but if you're ever curious as to what to do, flip your paper over. And then you're going to find yourself, and for the sake of this tutorial, hopefully it'll show up on the thing, get yourself a pencil. Please don't use pen. Pen will actually bleed through, depending on the type of pen you're using. Just use pencil. But I'm going to label this with a 1. And then this is my arrow. This lets me know that this is my top part. Okay. So I know on the back, it's my first one, and this is the top. Okay. So even though I have mine all in order, we're going to go through and you label them. This is a pro tip for you. Okay. So while I'm not going to do all of them, that is just how you go about doing it. I do have mine in the order in which I need them. Now, I also have my corners. I want to know where my corners are. So I'm going to cut the top of my paper because this is the first one. This first one is crucial. The reason being is because of the way I have it laid out. Okay, so I'm going to be, even though this says my top, I'm going to be working. Let me get my towel. Hold, please. This guy has already been lint rolled. And I mean, you have to spend some time lint rolling this. Okay, so he has already been lint rolled. I did not pre-press him. Don't need to pre-press him, but I did lint roll it. Okay. I am going to be working this way. Okay. You're going to be working in whatever direction you decide. So for me, I'm going to work literally top. This is how I have it laid out. So my top here, and then we're going to keep just squishing it along to do this. Am I going to use tape? Absolutely not. Okay. So I know that that's my corner. So if that's the corner, do I have the right corner? I just want to make sure I do this right because, you know, why not? Why didn't that mirror right? Did I not? Hold on. I got to think about this for 2 seconds. Just thinking about it for 2 seconds. So I know this is going to be the top over here. So all my numbers going across are going to be facing that way. All the numbers on this row will be facing that way because this is how I'm working today. Okay. So make sure that it comes perfect. Okay. So we have everything here that I need. I just don't know why that's backwards. Am I in the wrong corner? I have to think about this for a hot second. Hold on. I think I might be in the wrong. I might grab the wrong corner and switch them. When you're doing bubbles and they all look the same, give me 1 second. I just have to look at my one. That's a corner that's there. Yeah, I did. I flipped them. Okay. Whew. Okay. When you have your things all screwy-ooied because you're trying to prep. Okay. So here we go. It's like, wait a minute. See, I have these bubbles in between each one. All right. So here we go. We're just going to go right at it. You're going to lay it down here. You're going to lay your butcher paper on the top. We're going to work this whole front part down. All right. So your 1 and your arrow is going to be facing that direction. We're going to add our butcher paper to the top. Sorry, I got myself a little bit distracted there. Now, could you use the board method? You absolutely can use the board method. I'm all for using the board method because you see what I'm about to do? This is going to hang down and drive me absolutely crazy. But a lot of you don't want to use it. So the only reason I'm doing it without the board is because it's the most asked question. Do I have to have a board, Nikki? Well, no, but it does make my life a lot easier when I am using the board. Do I have to have a huge press? You don't. It's just you're going to do a lot of pressings to give it that faux bleed look. Is this something that I would be doing for a client? Maybe not. I probably would just do a different design altogether, but we're going to just have at it anyway. Okay. We're going to get some pressure onto this. All right. While that, I'm going to double check my images here because that's what we're going to do. So this is that one. All right. This is number 2. Number 3. There we go. This is number 4. Ha 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 ha. See? I just had them reversed. Luckily, I know my image. And what a pro tip is, print out what your towel is supposed to look like. So when you are doing these items, then this way you are getting the correct order of your items. Because you're going to be like Nikki and literally put them in the reverse. Okay. We are now rocking and rolling. So you can go through, make sure they match up with your image, print it off so that you can see what it looks like. Now, these are going to take you 60 seconds a piece. So you've got to rock and roll. I might get a little bit quiet. That just means because I'm concentrating on what I'm doing. And we're just going to kind of fly through this. And you can just watch how this happens. And I create a faux bleed look. Now, what I can do is come over here if I want to and put this next image and then just keep working. And I may do that. All right. This is something you have to sit and think about what you want to do, how you're going to want to do it. Here we go. Edge, edge, perfect. Okay. So now I have this. Can I cut it? Yes. Do I have to? Not necessarily. Now I am going to put that butcher paper back on the top here. Okay. Now you know why I like to use the board method, because I'm sitting here trying to hold this. So I'm going to work top to bottom on this one, just because I want to be able to push it towards the back and do the next set. There's 5 pressings per row. So there's a top row and a bottom row. And we're just going to kind of cook along. Again, if I get quiet, it's because I'm definitely concentrating on this. Don't worry, the mic didn't shut off. I might not have any fun little anecdotes or tips or anything like that. This is just what it is. We're going to spend the next 10 minutes together doing this, and you're going to watch me do it. Now, I will show you what it looks like if I don't press it long enough. Sometimes it doesn't bother it. Sometimes you can do it just for 40 seconds because I have such high heat and my pressure is on point. I will do that for the next set to show you what it looks like when you don't press it at the 60 seconds. Maybe you can cut down on some of your time on it. Okay. But you want to see what we're at so far? I mean, hello, nurse. Okay. Here's where we're starting our faux bleed look. Now, I want to cool this off just a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to roll it in on itself. Okay. So that it starts to dip off this edge. We're going to do the next section. Okay. The next section. So I'm going to work top to bottom, top to bottom. The next one is our little guy right here. I am going to want to know where that top edge is for me. Lay it out. this down. Because of the way I did the design, I should not be pressing, double pressing on any area, okay? Because of the way I did the design, I did this so that you were not fighting it, okay? If you're not going to use the board method, the last thing you want to do is fight anything. Okay, that takes care of that. The next one will be this bottom one. And then I'm going to show you that this is the bottom. Trim this off. That goes next to that one turtle. This one I'm only going to let press for 40 seconds. The next set I'm going to let press for 20 seconds to see if we can get away with it. All right, I'm okay with testing this out because you want to know, Nikki, do I have to do a full 60 seconds at 400 degrees? You know what? That's a great question. I don't know. I just know that what we're told, and sometimes we kind of just get into this rut of this is how you're supposed to do it. But sometimes you got to shake things up a bit and see if it works. So I've got some medium pressure here. I don't have squish the heck out of me pressure. And so here's the 40-second. Still gorgeous in this press. Okay, so at 40 seconds, it looks just as vibrant as that first one. We're going to move this down. The next set we'll do it 20 seconds. Never done 20 seconds on a towel before. I just need you to know that. Okay, now, because I want to butt this up as close as I can to that next image, I'm going to come over here. Just clear out some of the dead space. Drop this off the edge because I don't need to double press on any of this. Okay. There you go. So this is a 40 second. So the first set we did at 60. The second set we're doing at 40. This next set we're going to do it at 20 seconds, medium to firm pressure. And right now my press is set at 395. We're going to see if we can do it at the 20-second mark. Maybe that could just move our time a little bit for these big towels because you know what? Our time is money when we're doing things. So we want to see what we can get away with. Pretty much that's what this is. What can we get away with doing? Define hello nurse. Hello nurse is a just a funny hello nurse. Just something funny. Okay. It's like Eureka. Okay. Again, beautiful. Somebody in the comments did say that they use 30 seconds on their towels. So we're going to see. Again, the only reason I'm cooling this off just a little bit for off-gassing reasons. I just want to cool it off just a little bit. So I'm going to take it. We're going to roll it. Don't shove it down in there. Roll it. Put some effort into this. Okay. So now it's at the edge, and I can come here. We're going to drop it over to here. The next one is this guy right here. Where did I put my scissors? There they are. My top edge. Now we're going to do 20 seconds. Because why not? Drop this down into here. Make sure I can feel my press. 20 seconds. I don't know. I've never actually pressed a towel at 20 seconds before. But let me tell you, it would be a time saver, especially waiting the 60 seconds. You don't realize how long 60 seconds is until you're really doing all these towels. Then you know. Still very vibrant. Still a vibrant blue. Same as vibrant blue as the other one. You'll be able to compare once I show you. Where the comparison is going to come in for me is the vibrance of these turtles. I picked turtles that are completely vibrant. So we're going to do the rest of this towel. 20 seconds. Okay. Bring it over, line her up, drop this down, roll this out. I want this off my press because I don't want to be double pressing any of my stuff. Can you double press? Probably. I don't think there'll be too much of an issue. Towels are pretty forgiving. Dropping this down just a little bit. Okay. So we do know dropping it down to 20 seconds still gets us a beautiful press, still gets us rich, vibrant colors at 20 seconds. This could be a time saver when you are doing these big towels, because then instead of doing it 10 presses at 60 seconds each, you're going to do 10 presses at 20 seconds each, and you cut your time in half. As long as you have everything situated the way you want it to, you could just quickly go, go, go.
Lisa would like to know, are you subbing on...
Hold on, I'm moving the paper. What?
Lisa wants to know, are you subbing on the flat side or the loop side of the towel?
The flat side, the velvety side. The loopy side, you can't. That's actually cotton. So for these towels, any of Marvin's towels, the top side is the microfiber that you can press on. You cannot press on the back sides of these towels because they are the terry cloth type backing, and it's 100% cotton on the back, where it's 100% polyester on the front. This is where that whole 50-50 kind of blend works, okay? So still absolutely vibrant color. I can't wait to show you this thing all done pressed. Let's keep going. So we're going to come back to here. We're going to cool her off. We've got about 4 more presses left on this towel. Again, we're going to roll it. Don't be scared. This is nothing to be scared about on this. Once you have a rhythm, and if you have a decent designer who can sit here, like for this particular one, if you wanted to do this, it will come in 10 files. All right, you will get this in 10 files. If you have a decent designer, they will know that you cannot print something at 30 by 60. They're going to know to go in and cut out and know how to manipulate the images so that when you go to lay it out, you are built for success. Mine will actually be numbered so you know which number goes where. And I'll even give you a diagram so that this way you are as absolutely successful as possible for this, because I don't need you fighting for this. I don't need you to be frustrated with this. Because I've got to be very honest with you. The thought of doing these kind of frustrated me. If the thought of having this at 10 presses. All right. But I think of all the work that I put into my other substrates where I'm only pressing one and I'm letting it press for 8 minutes, or I'm doing the acrylic and I have to put the water on it. 10 presses is minor compared to some of the other prep work that I have to do on the different substrates. When you do a garden flag, you got to press both sides of it, right? When you do the canvas ones, the single-sided, you got to squish the heck out of it, get it nice and flat so you can make sure that you press that properly. Really think of all the time and effort you put into each substrate, and you will realize that 10 presses is really nothing in the scheme of things. Okay. Whoops. I forgot to get talking and I forget. I should probably just change the time on that, and I didn't. Okay. Again, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Keep right on going, Nick. I want you to be as successful at this as possible, and the less frustration you have, the better. What is a faux bleed or a faux full bleed? It's how you do the design. So if you know that you do your design in certain printing dimensions. So for an example, these are actually 12 by 15. Could you do a 19 by 13 or 13 by 19? Well, yes, but you're going to lay it out completely different. You got to remember these are only 30 inches wide. So I went with something that was 15 and 15 so that I'm only doing top, bottom, top, bottom. I'm not actually cutting and doing too much cut work. It really isn't. But if I did a 19 plus whatever this little side is, it might not meet up the way I want it. So I kind of just wanted to do something that was going to be for ease for me. So with that said, I ran out of time. Oh, I spaced that out wrong. Good gravy. Well, that's a me problem. I totally spaced this out wrong. I should have moved this over, which means I must have gaps. That's what happens when you're not sitting here and laying it out completely. That's okay. Not a big deal. I'm still going to use that last one. It's still going to be as cute as anything. Okay. I want to see something. Nope. Perfect. Okay. Okay, we've got this where this needs to be. Now, I could make it so I turn it, but because I'm in this rhythm of what I'm doing, I'm just going to sink this down in here because I don't want to. Like I said, I have a rhythm going here. Okay. Sick this down into here. This is where I am going to put some butcher paper. I'm going to use that butcher paper I've been using on the bottom because I'm going to go over this corner. What you could do too to make sure that you are getting them evenly spaced, you could tape them. This is why I do the board method, because I can lay it out and I can see what I'm working with. That's why I use the board method, but a lot of people don't want to use it. And I understand. I get it. Okay. So this I know is a corner. We're going to come right up here. Okay. Because I am going over the edge with my print, I do want that butcher paper down at the bottom. Tuck this down in through, make sure everything is tucked. Drop it like it's hot, because it is. Haven't said that in a hot minute. And then we'll do the bottom one. Again, nothing, there is no rhyme or reason to anything in life. Just roll with it. If you mess it up, make sure your design is forgiving enough. This is a very forgiving design. I'm not going to lose too much of what I'm going to accomplish. It's still going to be as adorable as anything. I just moved my last one too far down. Not a big deal. Next one, I'll make sure that it's moved up so that this will be a full image on this guy right here. Okay, let's take this out. Slide this over. Okay, we're going to tuck some butcher paper back in underneath that corner because, again, I'm going to go over the corner piece due to me not paying 2 bits of attention, and I should have, but life happens. Not perfect. Welcome to being human. Allow yourself some grace, but know how to pivot too. Okay, so I know this is my corner. I know that I can still have my cute little turtle on here. How much of a gap do I have here? I see that I have some gap. So maybe I want to just trim this off a little bit so I can see how close to that other image I can get and still have the sort of the look that I want. Perfect. Okay. Drop this off the side, drop this off the back. Perfect. We're rocking and rolling around here. Just know how to fix when something does go awry. Okay. Things like this are going to happen. But if you have a forgiving design, you have a layout, you're not live on television while you're trying to do this, you're going to have a much better time at this. Again, you want to just lay it out, see where everything is, where it needs to be marked. What you could do too, and I'm going to show you another little bit of a tip. If you're using the board method, or if you're not using the board method, where do you find where you line something up? I'm going to show you that in a second. It's a great little pro tip. You are going to have to make sure you take the little clips off when you are done, but I will show you a little pro tip there. Oh, she's gorgeous. God, that's a gorgeous color. Okay. Whoops. Okay. I want to see it first. Sorry. Are you happy with it? I am happy with it. I'm very happy with it. You want to see? Hopefully y'all can see it. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. What do we think, girls? Like, it's hard to see because it's big.
I love it.
Isn't it gorgeous?
It's so freaking cute.
Okay, so I'm a plus size girl. I just need you to know this. I'm a plus size girl. Okay. I might be losing weight. I'm still plus size. Okay. Just so you're very well aware. I can wrap it around. Very fashionable. Okay. So you can do this as a wrap if you wanted to. All right. So here's a pro tip idea for you. We're going to lay this out here. When you are laying out your images, okay, what you can do is lay things out. I'm going to go get me an image just for the sake of getting an image. All right. I'm going to tell you, for the sake of this argument, this is my fourth, and this is the top, and I'm going to pinch it so I know where the center is. Okay. Now, what I want you to do, let me go get my thing. Because these will never be under the heat press, what you can do is when you are putting them on the heat press, okay, so you're going to put this where this is. You're going to know where your middle is. You're going to take these little plastic clips and clip right where the center of this design needs to go. Okay, so you're going to have all these clips all the way down. We're going to go back up here, and I'm going to show you what you're going to do. So let's say I'm doing this top one, okay? And I know that my clip, my center of my design has to go right here, okay? So I'm going to go grab that image I was supposed to put there. I'm going to know that this is my top. This is where the center is. I'm going to line it up, pull off my clip, and then press it. I then know where the center of my design is because I've laid it all out. All right. I know where the center of my design is for each pressing. You can leave them on here until you're ready to press it. So I would then come in, take this side off, press it, come over here. I'd have a clip over on this side, line it up, pull the clip off, press it. Go on to the next one. You'll have all your clips all the way down. These clips are great markers. You can use pins if you want, but they're great markers to know where the center of your design is. And then this way, you don't do what I did and have just a slightly a bigger gap than what I wanted. All right. That's a pro tip for you. Find the center of your design, mark it on your image, and then mark it here. And then this way, it kind of just works for you. That's a little bit of a pro tip for you when you're trying to do multi pressings. You can definitely do that. Let me just show you the color. How to press this in order to get a fuller brilliant. Awesome, right? Look at that. Look at those colors. These were all at 20 seconds, by the way. So this first press, I mean, she's gorgeous. This was 60 seconds. These guys right here were at 40. And this next set was at 20. If you take and you put them together, you still get the most amazing color. You're not losing any of your color, okay? Again, 20 seconds on all of these. So you've cut your time in half. You've literally cut your time, well, in thirds, actually. So there you go. That's how you have a faux bleed look. It's all in how you lay out your design. You don't really see that there's a line down the middle, okay? Because of the way I had the drip marks, right? These things, they drip down in. So it kind of creates the illusion of a jagged edge, not a straight window looking thing all the way across. I'm going to lay this here for a second because it's hard for me to hold this. All right. So by creating this here, even though the bubbles are even moving, it's giving the illusion of a full bleed without the full bleed. All right. It's just in how it was laid out. So go in knowing that it's going to take you 10 pressings. 10 pressings does work really well if you want a faux bleed look. Could you lay out your paper differently? You absolutely can. I just found that this was more manageable for me because I was working top to bottom. All right, that's why I picked the 10 pressings, because from a top to bottom, me rolling it, pushing it back, it made for a much easier workflow, especially if I'm not going to use the board method. All right, so there is that. Now, you might have a smaller press. If you have a 15 by 11, you could still do this. All right, it's just you're going to have to get a little creative with it. All right, but at the end of the day, there you go. That is how, I'll try to take a really good picture of it too. That is how you press this and give it that faux bleed look, right? Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful, beautimous. All right, so now let's get back to that acrylic that I was playing with. So I put the acrylic in here. It's been soaking the entire time. And then you can just come in and you can actually just rub it with your thumb to get the paper off because it's been soaking. I'm going to take my Scrub Daddy. Get a little wet in there. Now, I'm going to show you that I just literally will scrub the heck out of it. Okay. You can take your 3D Puff Pro tool as well if you're kind of worried. And you can go through. You're like, Nikki, you're using the 3D Puff Pro tool on this? Yeah, I am. You're here for it. You're here for the crazy. That's why you signed up to watch this. Okay. Okay, dunk it in. If you still feel some paper on it, go ahead and use that. Really get in there. This doesn't do anything to my acrylic. And I'm literally scrubbing the heck out of it. Okay, I don't want to feel any of that paper. Okay, done. Okay, no paper feel. Nope, just right there on the edge. Okay, and you just want to go in there. It's now nice and smooth all through this. Let me wash that off. I'm feeling the residue from me washing it off. Okay, just want to make sure, drag my nail. Yep, nope, nothing there. I don't even feel the paper fibers. Now let's see if I can't get it nice and close to the screen. Okay, that's what it looks like. Right? It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And yes, you can see light through it. If I were to turn the light on behind this, you would be able to see light through it. I don't have something to show it to you. Oh, my phone. Hold, please. Let me pull up the phone here. See? So that's what it looks like when you put the light through it. You can absolutely see that.
And that's the clear one, correct?
No, that's the white.
Oh, okay. That's what Lisa was
The clear, obviously with the clear, it's going to be a stained glass. You're going to have that stained glass image with the clear. You're not going to have that opaque because it's, it's white. So the white will play off of that. Getting my paper off of here. Again, I've seen you guys put a lot more type of energy into things. So if this bothers you, then I'm going to question some of the other things you press. Not going to lie, I've pressed a lot of things in 5 years that take a lot more effort than this. It's probably one of the biggest arguments. I will say that that's probably one of the biggest arguments is, oh, Nikki, it takes forever. The paper sticks. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I've also watched you all fight with tumblers. Hence the 40 Tumbler Club, right? There, all cleaned off. Give her a quick once over. As you can see, that's what it looks like when it's up against white. So you can see it did press beautifully. When you have the light up against your window, you'll be able to see it. You do want to use, when you are using clear, dark, rich colors, because obviously the clear is where the white stripes are in this image. So it's an illusion, but you definitely want to make sure that you use rich, deep, dark colors for that. You don't want to have something that's light and pastel-y, because again, you are pressing it on clear. So with pressing it on the clear, it does make it very, very faint. I do like the white one. I will say that's probably one of my favorites, because the light can still shine through, still look very beautiful with the white acrylic. But now you know, I will take a picture of it all put together, hanging off of my window, so that you guys can see what it looks like side by side with the white and the clear. But I don't want you to be afraid of acrylic. Just go in with it, knowing that you're going to try it, and at least you would have a beautiful sun catcher out of it. And that is one of the items that are in there. Now, join me today at 5:30 again for the last installment of what's going to be in that Sassy Nation Mall box, where I will introduce to you the blank from Mom Cave & Co. That's Miss Cheyenne's office business. Then we also have Blank-tastic will also be announced. My stuff will be announced, and I think that's it. Am I missing anybody? I don't think so. But if I am, you'll find out tonight at 5:30. There you go. If you missed it, go back and watch the rewind of this. Again, the towel comes from Driven by Graphics. It took me 10 presses. Yes, you can do it at $3.95 for 20 seconds per press. Roll it. Make sure that you have, make sure you roll it. And I'm rolling. Make sure you roll it so that you can push it towards the back. If you're not going to be using your board method, if you really just want to do it straight on the press, you absolutely can. I showed you a pro tip where you can add the clips to it. Make sure you mark your backs of your papers. This is the top. This is this one top, middle. Then you mark it with your clips. That was a pro tip that I gave you. So again, go back and watch the rewind where you can sit and you can take whatever you need to out of that. Don't be afraid to do a faux full bleed on those towels. It's just you're adding a little bit more time than just adding a spot design to the center or a spot design on the corner. You're adding a little bit more depth and character and making yours stand out from the crowd. I also talked to you guys today about the acrylic from our RREM distributors, the pitfalls of trying to do it with a silicone mat. We didn't like it. We also talked about how you can add a little bit more pressure if you're unsure. That's okay if the paper sticks, not a big deal. Will it dull your acrylic? It will, but that could be your back side of it, especially on the clear one. All right, make sure you don't mirror your image if you want the shiny side. The back side will be a dull side, but don't mirror it on your clear. This way your front side is in the direction that you need it to go in, and that's the shiny side. As for the white acrylic, let me see where I put my white acrylic. I threw it on my table somewhere. Anyway, for the white acrylic, you definitely want to make sure that you put it in the water. Add your time, your temp, and your pressure for it, and then just keep right on cooking. It's really not that big of a deal. Don't, sweat the small stuff. There it is. Don't sweat the small stuff. It's still an absolutely gorgeous press, no matter which way you do it. And if you end up where you have just the right pressure, you'll end up with it shiny. But if it doesn't end up shiny, don't freak out about it. All right. So it's a matte finish versus a shiny finish. You sell it however you want to. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been the Sass for May 7th. My name is Nikki Damquitz. I am the Sassy Subber. Make sure you join me for more fun tutorials right here on YouTube. Make sure you guys are here for the Sassy Nation Mall box, which launches tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Until then, I'll see you guys, where, on the flip side.